Okay, I've pressed all of the right buttons and it looks like we are now fully connected.
I hope
Oh
so.
my gosh, today is already it's the last day of March, isn't it?
I know. So what are you doing for your last day of March, Terry Ann?
I'm going to march right through this stack of paperwork here and get it done today.
I'm going to get my last baby snuggles for today.
Ooh, baby snuggles.
Then I'm leaving baby.
That's fun.
Yep. Can you hear me? Am I good? Am I connected?
I can hear you. We're good. Hey, why don't we start out like we're supposed to? Welcome to Conversations with Sherry and Terry Ann. I am Terry Ann Porter, life coach, TA. I empower you to defeat those lies of negative self-talk by changing your perspective, which will open your eyes to some of those unseen possibilities, leading to the opening of pathways onto which you can choose to proceed with truth. And my co-host today.
Good morning. I'm Sherry Berger, for those of you that don't know me, and I am the owner of Here to There Consulting. We educate business owners with those tools to balance business, life, and finances so that we can have growth, leadership, and success, not only in our business, but in our life. Because our mission is to create the life and business that you deserve. So I am so glad you're here this morning. Good morning, Debbie. Great to see you. What are we going to talk about today?
Oh, today's topic is sharing your business message. You know, I got to tell you that with this COVID thing, this pandemic, the quarantines, the lockdowns, sharing the message has definitely changed over this past year, and now slowly opening up, it's changing again.
Oh,
Sherry, how do we share our business information?
How do we deal with all this? This is just crazy. Pivot and then learn to pivot again. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, I like that. Pivot and then pivot again. That is exactly what's been happening.
How many out there, though, are entrepreneurs or business owners? One of our big muscles that we learn to use is the pivot muscle. You didn't even know that was such a muscle.
I didn't know we had one, the pivot muscle. I like this.
The more we learn to pivot, the better. But, I like that everybody right now, Terry Ann, is saying, I can't wait for things to go back to normal. Really? Do you think they're really going to go all the way back to so-called normal? I think we have a new normal coming. Mm-hmm. And I know right now we have some people being vaccinated, some people choosing not to be vaccinated, some people waiting to be vaccinated. And I know that I have business associates and friends and acquaintances in all those categories. I know that's crazy, right? And I think I've told you before, the biggest thing I've found with this pandemic, and I feel like as business owners and as individuals, we need to be very careful about, is the judgment. If you wear a mask, you're wrong. If you don't wear a mask, you're wrong. If you get vaccinated, you're wrong. If you don't get vaccinated, you're wrong. If you're waiting, what the heck is wrong with you? And I think all that fighting is not helping us with our businesses. Did you hear me? You can have a difference of opinion, but how about if we respect each other?
I like that.
So one of my favorite sayings is, nobody cares how much you know till they know how much you care. Isn't that, it's hung in my office.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're trying to get your message out as a business owner, nobody cares what you know until they know how much you care. So if we live by that, right? And we realize that, I'm sorry, but this last year, or has it been a year and a half now? It's been 1 year, right, Terry Ann?
It's been a year.
It just feels like 10. So it's been 1 year. This last year, I'm just going to let you know, this is my opinion, and it's true. Whatever your views are on how to deal with the pandemic, you're wrong. Because guess what? We've all been pivoting and learning along the way. And yes, we have the experts that are in our best interest, right? The scientists and other people. Oh, wait, where did the pandemic come from? Oh, let's not even get started there. But we have those experts that are trying to figure it out for us, which is great. So we need to trust them and ultimately trust God. So there's my big thing. But with getting our message out, it has changed the way that we're going to get it out now, hasn't it?
It has.
In 2019, I knew I needed to pivot. October 2019, to be exact, I knew that I needed to do more Facebook Live. But I don't know about you, Terry Ann. Don't put a picture of Sherry. And please do not videotape Sherry. Oh my gosh. And have you ever watched a video of yourself, Terry Ann?
I have. That's why I tried to stay away from it.
Exactly. Or have you ever looked at a picture? And I don't know, you guys know I'm a new grandma and I was trying to do selfies, if you see it on my Facebook. And it's funny because I don't know how to do selfies. And you know what? Simon was just such a trooper until he finally fell asleep and just said, whatever, grandma. But I mean, when you're young, you're willing to pivot more. He didn't even care. Oh, wait, he doesn't even know. But I get that. But anyway, so I felt like God was speaking to me and saying, it's not about you. It's about your message.
No way. It's not about me.
It's about your message. Oh. And when you're getting your message out, Terry Ann, it's not about you. It's about the person that you're trying to help.
Yes.
So what's in it for them, not what's in it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my biggest thing with getting the message out is if you're scared of video, go do it. If you're afraid of your message, go practice it. Right? We need the 30-second. We need the 2-minute. It depends on your situation, what you want to. And if you have a great friend that you can practice with on Zoom or whatever and watch the video, except for say this about a video. Nobody wants you just to do a video perfect. They don't want to work with perfect people. So if you're going to do a video, do not do it more than 3 times. And do not read a script. Okay, what did Kathy Weaver just say? Punt and pivot is our new norm. Oh, I love it.
I love it.
What does punt really mean, though?
Do you know something I finally did to make me to be comfortable in sitting in front of the camera? I suddenly realized one day, Sherry, if you and I were to sit down and have coffee together, we're sitting at the table and we're drinking our coffee or tea. Anyway,
coffee.
Whatever. But if we're sitting at the table, you know what? This is what I look like. So if I'm willing to sit across the table from you, why am I not willing to sit in front of this camera? And I finally had to use it that way and convince myself that camera is just the table. And I'm sitting here sharing personally, that changed my perspective, starts with perspective and mindset. So once I realized it's no different than meeting in person. So that's it. Hit the record button and go.
And when you're doing a video, you need to speak to somebody like you're speaking to one person. Sometimes we're trying to speak to everybody. And I know you talked about some of your, by the way, oh my gosh, if you guys are not following Terry Ann on YouTube, oh my gosh, she has some amazing stuff out there. And one of them is how she overcame, what was it? Opioids, right?
I was on opioids for 10 years and I finally yesterday posted it.
Yeah. And she did a really good presentation for Toastmasters on that. And she put it on YouTube. And we were discussing that. And I said, you are speaking to that one person that needs to hear that message. And so remembering that too, right? And things happen to us in our life for a reason, for a season, right? And for a reason though. So you always want to make sure that you're able to use, like you were addicted to opioids. That's horrid, Terry Ann. I am so sorry that happened to you. But how can God use that, right? So It's not showing empathy that person, and that doesn't make you a bad person because that could have happened to me or you. And sometimes being a little more transparent I'm not saying put your dirty laundry out there. Can you please quit posting that what a pain your spouse is on Facebook or your kids or nobody wants to hear your trash. So I'm not saying put trash on YouTube or put trash on you know what I'm saying? Some people don't realize nobody wants them, That's where maybe you should sit and just have a cup of coffee with a friend and talk about that stuff. So that's not part of your message, but part of your message is being real. And when you put together that presentation, you put it together in a presentation form, Terry Ann. You actually had a message. It wasn't, I'm going to get on YouTube and cry and I'm just having a bad day. What?
Right.
Yeah, that's people don't want to hear that either. It makes them that will make people very uncomfortable. And so you don't want to make people uncomfortable in your message, but you want to give them, the message.
Right.
I know I have a lot of peaks and valleys in my life, and some of my stuff that I probably been through wasn't fair or wasn't, except for I tell my children it's not fair, right? But I call them Job moments. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But I'll just be honest. Everybody doesn't need to hear all my baggage. Now, if it's going to help you, and I'm sitting down and I'm talking to you about, some life experience. But getting your business message out, you really need to zone that down. You need your 30-second and your 2-minute. But sometimes you could change your message when you're doing a YouTube. Like, how are you helping your clients? What is one of those stories? See, telling your story is not about healing to you, but can be exactly what someone needs to hear and healing to them. But can you do me a favor? And please don't tell a story that you have not healed from. Did you hear me? When you're still, and it's not that you could have some pain in it, right? And that's okay. But don't tell your stories or some of your things before you're over it or ready. I don't know. I mean, if I'm having a crazy day in the middle of what is it called? Dealing with a bunch of teenagers, which I hope I'm almost out of this teenage phase. But anyway, if I'm having one of those days, it's okay to get on here as long as I'm just trying to say, this is some of the chaos of having 4 kids and still having a teenager and now becoming a grandma. You know what I mean? If you're trying to make it where people can relate to you in that aspect. But anyway. But I like how Grace said, though, telling your story can help other people. And I'm so one thing I admire about Terry Ann is that story that you told is in a very diplomatic, good way. And it was authentic and it could really help somebody else.
So things have changed over this past year. We talked last week about networking. Networking has certainly changed to meet other business people, excuse me, and just to meet people in general. There were several events. I used to go to one particular event every week. I went to another one once a month. I saw people. Well, now I have to see them online. So the whole visitation
have coffee with me online, Terry Ann?
Coffee with me online, yes. Yes. So networking itself has changed. The opportunity to meet people has changed. So one way we have to do it now is almost going virtual. So how do you take your message virtual? And how do you meet the people that you would have a good business interaction with? Or even if your message is not business, maybe it's ministerial or whatever. How do you meet the people and how do you get the word out there? YouTube is one way. What are some other ways?
Oh, well, going to networking events, obviously online. And I know Kathy Weaver has a really big one called Happy Something Connection. But anyway, that's been a huge, more opening up, where people can connect from other states. I think the pandemic has made our world small and big at the same time, right? Because now we can talk to, and not that we weren't before, but like I've been in training because I do a lot of training. So I've been in training with other people from other states. And then we figured out, oh, Terry Ann, you're a personal coach. I'm a business coach. Here's how we can work together. So some of getting your message out is not always about clients, but about people that maybe you can work with. Auto Cap says coffee with wine.
I love it.
I think that's exactly how we should be getting our message out. Some coffee and wine. Yeah, it's called Happy Neighborhood Project. But I think sometimes if we're having coffee and wine, like Carrie just talked about, you know what? Having coffee or wine with somebody is sometimes about connecting and getting to know them.
Yes.
But nobody wants to be sold to.
Right.
But they want to be valued and understood and heard. And then if you have a solution to their problem, but if you didn't listen to them, how do you even know what maybe they need help with? And what if I don't try to sell them my business coaching, but I go, maybe you need to work with Terry Ann, or maybe you need some good, healthy water that you could work with Kathy, or maybe if you just looked a little nicer and you know, with some little lipstick and makeup and you worked with Carrie. What if we turn around and we actually care what they need at this moment in their life and give them resources, which don't always have to be you? Because I really believe with your message, with your business, it can come back tenfolds. Like I said, nobody cares what you know till they know how much you care. And so what do they need?
I think a big thing that people need is to be heard. If you come in, there's a neat thing about some people listen. Are you listening to hear, or are you listening to respond? If once I start to tell you what's going on, you've got the immediate answer. You may not have heard what I was saying, so you're not listening to me. You are selling to me. It's very important, I think, to feel that somebody has actually cared enough to listen to what I had to say, and maybe even what I didn't say.
Yep. And I find in my line of work, I don't know about yours, 100% is about caring, not selling. Exactly. And a lot of people on this call, and I love the people that don't sell to you. Maybe they educate you. Maybe they say, hey, how about if you tried a little bit of lipstick? I don't wear makeup at all. Okay, so don't try to sell me makeup. Maybe if I did skincare and maybe, but again, I just want to sit down and get to know you. So, sometimes about getting your message out is more about who are you? What do you represent? Why do you do what you do? Yeah, I love that when Grace says that. My favorite quote is, are you interesting or interested?
Oh, I like that.
Do you know that people work with people that they like, know, and trust? But people still can see if you're trying to fulfill that like, know, and trust. Oh, if you like me and you know me and you trust me, now I can sell to you. What? So if you're not authentic in that, when you're getting your message out, and it doesn't matter if it's online, it doesn't matter if it's in person, it doesn't matter, right? Like I said, what is the why? What are you? Like our business, my business model is, our mission is to help you create the life and business that you deserve. Does that mean that you necessarily, well, I think everybody should have some form of business coaching, but that's just me. But does that necessarily mean that you should work with me to get that mission? Right? So that's my mission for my business, but that doesn't mean that you need to work with me. Right? That means, and yes, you want people to work with you. I'm not saying that. But that means if you have other resources or other ways to help them, even if you told them to go talk to their pastor at church. Since I've been hanging out with two pastors over here for a week, I'm thinking that was really weak. But my point is, even if that's what I said was, why don't you go talk to, your pastor this week? Or what is it? Or do you need to just shut up and listen to what's going on in their life? Like Grace said, there's a difference between what is it, your story, and complaining. I liked it when she said that one too. But sometimes people do just need a friend or a person to sit down and vent to. And that's okay too. So when you're out there networking, out there trying to get your message out, which funny, we talked about networking. Well, not really funny because Terry Ann and I try to make them somewhat related. But last week we talked about networking. This week we're talking about your message. But it needs to be not, I sell ABC and come buy from me. Oh, look, I just started a rhyme, Terry Ann. I go out and I do this everywhere. And I just do that cute little jingle. Isn't everybody going to want to buy from me, Terry Ann?
That's what it takes, right?
Yeah, I sell ABC. Come buy from me. I'm just going to start saying that. And everybody's just going to come flooding to come buy from me. And you need this what's it. I don't even care what's going on in your life, but everybody should have a what's it. Really? I don't think anybody likes that, right? That always takes me back to the Kirby or the Avon lady, and I don't want to talk bad about Avon. Kirby, I feel like I can. But when they came knocking on your door and would say, come buy ABC product.
So we have YouTube and we have networking. What are some other ways, especially if you're just only able to sit in your office, whether you're able to get out or not, what are some other ways to make some connections? We've got the online networking.
Yeah, because you said we got network and we got YouTube. Well, there's online networking, there's meeting in person, and there's actually happy hours on Zoom. And guess what's the good news about happy hours on Zoom? A, you don't have to spend as much money. If you want alcohol, you can just have that. Or B, you can drink water. Did you know that? Or coffee. If you're smart, you'll drink your coffee. I'm just being But no, you can drink whatever you want online when you're meeting with people, or you can have a coffee date with somebody and drink what you want. I think maybe if you have too many margaritas and wine, you might not present yourself as.
You still want to be careful.
but if you know at an actual happy hour, would you go out to go get drunk? That is not a time to get, you know what I'm saying? That's very unprofessional. So it's still unprofessional on Zoom. So, but anyway, you can have one-on-ones with people on Zoom. Some people are meeting outside and having one-on-ones that way. And some people feel more safe, but whatever the way you do that network is helpful.
Grace pointed out you could do Facebook Lives. You could do weekly, grit your teeth and get in front of that camera and get out there weekly. You can do pop-ups. Something to just let people know that you are out there and what you are doing and to stay connected. And you can something though I learned a long time ago, though, there is a neat thing about this online stuff, but it's also easy to hide online. And you really do need to meet people and really get to know them one-on-one. Because it's real easy in a Facebook group to hide a lot of yourself as well. Weekly blogs, Facebook Live, yes. How do you get your message out? Blogs are a great thing. I get all these great ideas in my head, and I've written all these blogs in my head. What I need is something that will just pull it out of my head and post it. Or because I don't go to the keyboard and start typing while they're coming. And that's what I've got to start working on.
Or maybe you need to realize that perfectly imperfect is okay.
Ooh, that's right.
I love that saying. And done beats perfect every time. Now, I'm not saying just put garbage, but done. I did my post for the week. Okay, blog. But nobody... Terry Ann, you can intimidate me if you have all your ducks in a row and I have 5 of them out of row or whatever it is. So they can see that sometimes you don't have all your ducks in a row. Again, I like what Grace said. There's a difference between your story and complaining. It's your perspective of it. But yeah, done beats perfect every time. And I guess I more want to say that to the type A perfection people. But don't go be sloppy.
She's calling me out, guys. She's calling me out, ladies. Help me.
Because it's like, oh, I'll never get my blog done because it's not perfect. I'm never going to get my book done because it's not perfect. So how many times whenever you've given a speech or a presentation, you've had it perfect before you do it, Terry Ann?
I've never reached that perfect point.
Oh,
I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. I'll get there.
You think? There's only one person I know that ever walked the earth. And my son was explaining to me he only did 3 years of ministry. I thought that was pretty funny when my kid tried.
Oh, wow.
Jesus only did. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure Jesus done more than 3 years. But maybe he walked on the earth doing it. But no, he did more than 3 years of ministry.
He ministered his whole life. It was just official for 3 years.
It was walking with you for 3 years. I don't think that was official. And guess what? God and Jesus are still perfect, and I don't know how to be them. So I just got to be saved. I got to be saved by grace and not works and keep moving forward.
I've had a story for 61 years. I'm just starting to tell it now.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. And you're going to have more stories in the next 20 years, Terry Ann.
Lots of stories coming up. Yes.
So next week we are going to, can you believe today is the last day of March?
No, I cannot believe that.
And so what are you doing your last day of March?
What am I doing the last day of March? Oh my goodness. Oh, okay, Grace, that's perfect. If we were all perfect, we'd be in heaven and this would be a boring world.
Yeah, and I don't want to be friends with anybody that's perfect. That just is too much for me.
Too much. I
don't want to work with anybody perfect. It's too much for me. I don't even.
We are going to kick off the month of April we come up with a theme. We are so excited and hope that you will be joining us through April. We are going to spring into action. What does it mean to spring into action? You're going to have to join us to find out.
Yes, it'll be exciting. And tomorrow is April 1st, which is April Fool's Day. Whoa.
No fooling.
And then we have Good Friday coming up, and that's a big deal in my church. We have a great service. But anyway, and then we have Easter. So it's perfect on Wednesday for us to spring into action because all these cool events are coming up, right? So that'll be awesome. What does she say? Pushing through to last hour for my goals. End of business year.
Well, that's what she's doing today on her last day of March. That's what Carrie's doing.
Also, the end of the quarter, first quarter for 2021. Can you believe it? So what are your first quarter goals? What are you got accomplished? And don't worry, we're going to talk about springing into action next week. So today I am going to focus on getting extra grandma snuggles while I can. I know maybe we should be working on our goals, but to have some work-life balance.
Hey, that's a good goal.
So, all right, everybody, you guys enjoy this week. And we will see you next week when we are going to spring into action.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, guys.